Why is it that the more we get, the less we feel? We spend our lives chasing the next big thing, the better job, the bigger house, the perfect life. We think happiness is a destination we will finally reach, but have you ever noticed, as soon as you get there, the horizon moves, the goalpost shifts? What if happiness isn't something you find? What if it's something you simply allow? This was the paradox that tormented a wealthy merchant named Valen. From the outside, his life was a portrait of success. His mansion stood on the highest hill overlooking the city, its marble halls filled with treasures from every corner of the known world. Silks from the east, spices from the south, and gold. So much gold. He owned a fleet of ships that sailed on every sea, their holds heavy with goods that multiplied his fortune with each journey. Servants catered to his every whim. He had achieved everything he ever set out to accomplish, and more. And yet, he was empty. Each morning, Valen would sit at a grand banquet table laden with exotic fruits, roasted meats, and fine breads, but he had no appetite. He would walk through his treasury, the candlelight glinting off piles of coins and jewels, but the sight brought him no joy. It was just metal, just stones. Instead, a hollow ache echoed in his chest, a constant, quiet hum of dissatisfaction. His nights were sleepless. He would be hunched over his ledgers, his brow furrowed with worry. Worry about a storm delaying a ship. Worry about a competitor undercutting his prices. Worry about losing what he had. And in the moments he wasn't worried about losing, he was anxiously planning how to get even more. He was the richest man in the city, and he was a prisoner of more. One afternoon, desperate for a cure to this nameless ailment, Valen left his gilded cage and walked down to the harbor. The air was thick with the smell of salt and tar. The sound of gulls and distant ship bells filled the air. He walked past his own massive merchant vessels being loaded with cargo by dozens of workers. He barely noticed them. His gaze was drawn to the end of a simple wooden dock. There sat an old fisherman, his face a map of wrinkles carved by sun and sea. He was mending a net with practiced, patient hands. A young child, perhaps his grandchild, sat beside him, laughing as they pointed at a crab scuttling by. At the old man's feet was a single small silver fish glistening in the afternoon light. That was it. One small boat, one small fish, and a universe of peace. The fisherman, whose name was Selim, looked up and smiled at the child, and in that moment he seemed to radiate a light more brilliant than all of Valen's gold. He looked peaceful, he looked complete, he looked truly, deeply alive. It was a feeling Valen hadn't known in years, perhaps ever. Driven by a need he couldn't quite name, Valen approached the old man. The contrast between them was stark. Valen in his fine, embroidered robes, Selim in his simple, worn-out tunic. The merchant's face was tight with stress. The fisherman's was relaxed with contentment. Valen cleared his throat. "Old man," he began, his voice raspy with disuse. "I don't understand. I own the fleet of ships you see in this harbor. You have only that one small boat. I have chests overflowing with gold. You have a single fish. So tell me, why do you look like a king while I feel like a beggar?" Selim stopped his work. He looked at Valen, not with pity, but with a gentle, knowing kindness. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached for a woven reed basket lying beside him. He held it up. Valen could see right through it. The bottom was not just worn, it had a large, gaping hole. "Merchant," Selim said, his voice as calm as the deep ocean, "do me a favor, take this basket. and fill it with water from the sea. Valen was confused, but he did as he was asked. He walked to the edge of the dock, dipped the basket into the turquoise water, and lifted it. The water rushed out from the hole in a torrent, emptying the basket before he could even straighten his back. He tried again, faster this time. He scooped and lifted, but the result was the same. A cascade of seawater, a moment of fullness, and then nothing. Frustrated, he turned back to the fisherman. "It's impossible," Valen declared, breathing heavily. "The basket is broken. It cannot hold anything." Selim smiled a slow, wise smile. He pointed from the basket to Valen's chest. "Your heart is like this basket, Valen. You spend your life trying to fill it with things from the outside: gold, praise, success, more ships, more profits. You pour and you pour, hoping one day it will be full. But you see, the hole in the bottom is your constant desire for more. As long as that hole is there, the ocean itself could not fill you. You will always be empty." The words struck Valen with the force of a physical blow. He had spent his entire existence focused on what he was pouring in, never once considering the vessel itself. Selim continued, his voice softer now. He gestured back to the water. "You believe happiness is the water. You think if you just find a bigger ocean, a purer source, you will finally be satisfied. But that is the great mistake. Happiness is not the water you pour in. Happiness is fixing the basket." He paused, letting the silence hang in the air. "It is the quiet art of mending the hole. It is the simple, powerful act of looking at what is already in your hands, no matter how small, and saying, 'This is enough. This one fish is enough for today's meal. This one sunset is enough for today's beauty. This one laugh is enough for today's joy.' When you need nothing more, you suddenly possess everything." It was as if a bolt of lightning had split the sky of Valen's mind. A lifetime of frantic, desperate running on a treadmill suddenly came into sharp focus. He had been chasing the horizon, never realizing it moved with him. He thought that success was the path to happiness, that one would automatically lead to the other. But now he saw they were not connected. They were two entirely different skills. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. He looked up. The sun was beginning its descent, painting the clouds in hues of orange, pink, and gold. For the first time, he saw the sunset not as a backdrop, not as something to be captured in a painting he could buy, not as a fleeting commodity of time he was wasting. He just saw it. He felt the warmth on his skin, heard the gentle lapping of waves against the dock, and felt a profound sense of stillness. For a single, glorious moment, the hole in his basket sealed shut, and in that moment, filled with nothing but the present, he felt fuller than he ever had before. Valen eventually returned to his mansion on the hill. From the outside, nothing had changed. The gold was still in the treasury. The ships were still in the harbor. But inside Valen, everything was different. He walked to the grand dining table, which was, as always, piled high with food. His eyes fell on a simple, red apple in a bowl of fruit. Before, he would have ignored it, his mind already on the next day's ledgers. This time, he picked it up. He felt its weight in his hand, saw the shine on its skin. He brought it to his lips and took a bite, and he truly tasted it, the crispness, the sweetness. He wasn't thinking about the next shipment of spices or the value of his estates. He was just tasting the apple. He sat down in a large, ornate chair, not feeling its cost, but its comfort. And he smiled, a real smile, one that reached his eyes. Nothing in his world had been taken away, but his poverty had vanished. He was no longer a poor man with a lot of money. He was finally a rich man who just happened to have some gold. True happiness is not a destination you arrive at or a possession you acquire. It is a state of deep appreciation. While success is about getting what you want, genuine happiness is found in wanting what you already have. Thank you for watching.